Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you low quality content you deserve. And today, after all the combos I've been showing off, of all the test hands, of all the crazy things I've been showing, all you guys on YouTube, all you guys on Twitter, everyone in every Discord I'm in, I decided I'm going to show off the deck that I've been testing all these hands with. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way right now. This is not what the deck is going to look like when we start playing it. Because, to put it quite simply, these cards have been tested by very few people. And I specifically have been kind of ignoring some very big things that this deck can do, such as playing World Chalice monsters, playing Chaos monsters. Like, I haven't even bothered trying to put those engines in here yet. I also have been ignoring the existence of Nibiru doing all these combos, when I know there's actually quite a few routes where you can resist Nibiru, but I just haven't bothered with it yet because these cards are quite a bit away a ways from us. Or I said that wrong. Whatever. So it's a while before we get them. So I just wanted to test the power level of the deck itself, just because it's not an indicator of what we're going to do, but it's an indicator of what we can do, if that makes sense. Because if I am going very try-hard on these combos and they're not very good, then there's no reason to play the deck when we try to min-max it. But if I'm doing just regular combos and the deck is just pulling off some stunts, then there's a reason to start looking its direction. This is the thing about testing a deck before we even have the cards, is you shouldn't be testing for the format we're currently in, or for the format we'll have, or for whatever X reason, because we don't know when we'll get them. But what we should do is see its current power level when maximized, to see if these are worth playing. And that's what I've been doing this whole time. I've been seeing the power level of this deck, and I am very impressed. So much so that I think when we get this deck, there are going to be a lot of people trying to get this to... We'll try to shove this into the meta, and I think it has a very good chance of just fitting in. So, let's get into the deck itself. We got Triple Venus, the best starter... Well, like, second best starter in the deck, but it's how you facilitate all your combos, not from Venus itself, but from any effect that copies Venus. So any access to Master Flare, Hyperion, any way to access this, it does the same thing. It not being once per turn is very, very relevant, because Neptune can revive this. Like, if they Gamma this and you have Neptune, it doesn't matter. If it gets Valor Imperm, but you have a Fairy Extender, you can link it away, you revive it with Neptune, doesn't matter. And Neptune searchable itself with the Rhoda and Earth, like, it really just doesn't matter a lot of the time, them hitting this. So it's, like, really bad to use a hand trap on, and Ash Blossom literally just doesn't interact with this card, so that's pretty cool. So, yep, Triple Venus, Triple Uranus. So this one is very tricky in my mind, because this is really powerful when you have Sanctuary in the Sky. When you don't have Sanctuary in the Sky, this card is so bad. But it is another agent name, which is actually super important for a reason I will get into later. And once you do have Sanctuary in the Sky, it's just a free summon that's a tuner that can change its levels. It's a agent, so you can combo with all your stuff. It's a dark fairy, so you can just do so many things with this. Yeah, very, very good. Neptune. This is the guy that this card's so powerful. It's a Monster Reborn or a Marauding Captain, however you want to use it. You will use many, like, both of their effects. It's not just only going to summon from the graveyard. It, in very many scenarios, can summon from the hand, especially when, like, you're just trying to get a link on board. That is very relevant. And then it getting banished, searching its Sanctuary in the Sky, is the reason... Like, you don't need to play Terraformings or, like, Zeradias. You just don't need to play that, because as soon as this gets banished, you can go ahead and search, which is way more convenient than, like, all the other ways to search Sanctuary. Triple Earth. It's definitely like a half starter. Despite it being a Stratos, it is very much a half starter. It alone doesn't achieve much of anything, except if you're going a fiber, if you're going down the path of like a fiber route, which I'm not doing right now, because this is a one-card fiber, while also like getting 2 agent names in graveyard. So that's something that's very interesting, but I don't like... I really... You definitely have to play this, but it is one of the weaker summons in this deck. It's like Venus, Diviner, and then like Earth. But Earth is a half starter still. So if you have like this and a Hyperion, you're good to go. If you have like this and Neptune, you're good to go. If you have this and the Rhoda, you're good to go. So there's plenty of ways to still get access with Earth. It's just it doesn't do it on its own like the others do. And the first of the Garnets, we got Triple Shine Ball. Yeah, this card doesn't do anything on its own. A shocker. Then, for the last of the Agent Hyperion cards, we go 1 Jupiter. This card is actually really good. I know a lot of people like don't really consider this card a lot, but its first effect is neat, but that's not why we're playing it. Its effect is you can banish an agent monster from your graveyard, target a light fairy, it gains 800 attack. That's actually kind of relevant with the Master Flare Hyperion, because if you use Flare to copy Jupiter, you can send Jupiter from your deck to your grave, banish the same Jupiter to increase its attack, and then we can use its other effect, which is the actual good effect of this card. While you control Sanctuary in the Sky, you can discard a fairy to target a light fairy that is banished and special summon it. That is very, very relevant because we're just banishing fairies all the time. Sometimes you can just casually revive a Christia or an Eva and go off from there. You can revive a Bhutan to make some synchros. That is a very relevant effect. And it's also a very powerful effect. But it also, when you're playing Jupiter like that, you can banish the Jupiter to make gain 100 attack, discard a fairy to revive the Jupiter, then Jupiter can activate again to target the same Master Flare Hyperion. And now it's at 48, and if there was a situation where like access code couldn't beat over a rival, well, now this can. So that's pretty cool. But also, if you do that, the Master Flare will discard to summon this, and then the Jupiter will discard another fairy to summon another thing. So you get like 2 DDRs that turn. So this card's actually very good. You could play more, but it is definitely a follow-up play rather than like a starter. Sometimes it's a starter, but not very often. And then we got 1 Master Hyperion, 1 Majesty Hyperion. Honestly, I think you should probably play 2 Master Hyperion. Yeah, it's like mega searchable. But man, this is such a just good card to draw a lot of the time. Even when you don't have much going for it, it still makes, like, it and Earth is still full combo. It's actually just very good. It's super aggressive. If you draw this in the combo, it makes the combo better. So honestly, you might want to play 2 of this. This one, however, I think you should probably just play 1. Maybe 2 if you really like this card, but both of the Hyperions have the same summoning conditions, except Majesty can special summon itself from the grave doing that, which is why I think you only need to play 1. But when I say the same summoning condition, these guys can special summon themselves by banishing an agent from your hand, field, or graveyard. From the hand is actually super important because sometimes you'll just break on a bunch of like fairies you can't use. But if you can summon a Hyperion by banishing like your Uranus from your hand, sometimes it can get you there. And if you're like Diviner gets negated, but you can still summon these guys, you still have full combo because Diviner's a level 2 tuner. So yep, we got that going for them. And this one, banish light fairies to target cards on the field, destroy them. It doubles that if you have Sanctuary. And this one, banish fairies from the graveyard. I think this one's only fairies. Yeah, you can banish a fairy from your hand or graveyard, target a card in either graveyard, banish it, and it being in either graveyard is super relevant because of Christia. And then it also has like a battle effect I don't care about. And then we got Triple Diviner. What you do is, in order to make this card alone a Venus, you send Trias, make it level 11, use Trias, Tribute Divine, or Special Summon it as a level 9 fairy, and summon Bootin from your deck, a level 1 fairy tuner, and that's how you can make Master of Flare Hyperion. So that's cool. Then we got one Eva. It's used in most of the combos. If you have the combo, this is totally fine to draw, because you'll just discard it and get your stuff early. It doesn't really matter. And then, like, Asmodeus, which is the next card, can go ahead and, like, send a Majesty Hyperion or a Trias or whatever in that scenario. But Asmodeus, we use both effects in this deck, which is kind of cool. I don't think there's ever been a time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we were actively using both of this card's effects, or even, and to be more honest, using this card ever. So that's cool. Triple Orange Light. Funny enough, this is actually a third starter. If you open this Hyperion in like an agent, you have full combo, which is really funny. Because it being, yet again, a level 2 tuner, but it's also just negations against hand traps at certain choke points, so that's pretty cool. Also searchable with Eva. And then finally, Christia, yet another win condition. This one's a little more interesting, because you might think it's a little overkill, honestly, but the hands where you get multiple hand trapped, or you get really, really stopped, if you just summon a Christia, a lot of the times that's just good enough. You just want to, like, in scenarios where you just get hard countered, sometimes dropping your Christia, adding back a card, they have to deal with it, and then once they deal with it, you just start playing again. But if you do get to combo, and you get to this, it's like, you have a bunch of negations, and then they're under Vanity's Emptiness. So that's how well that goes. And for the spells, we got Triple Rhoda, no explanation needed. And then we got Celestial Transformation. This card special summons any fairy from your hand, but its attack is halved, and it's destroyed at the end phase. It is a way to extend, especially when it comes to your, like, bigger monsters. It's a way to get them out of your hand with, like, no commitment, so that's pretty cool. Then we got Double Sanctuary. Playing 3 Uranus, you might even play 3 of this, but a lot of people are like, oh, now you only need to play 1 of this. That is definitely a little awkward. Not because I disagree with it, but mainly if there's a hand where you have this, I'd rather discard this than anything else, because you're always going to get a free Sanctuary in the combo. And sometimes if you get a free Sanctuary, it's a good discard outlet. For, like, the Dark Lord or Parshath. I actually am fine playing 2 of this, mainly for the free discard outlet. You might not agree with me, but I do think that. And also, if they out Sanctuary and you got a bunch of cards that need Sanctuary to work, it's nice to have another one in deck just for those situations. Foolish Burial. This is a non-card. I guess it and Neptune is full combo. It is what it is. And then we got Called by the Grave. Counters hand traps, I guess, which is actually kind of funny, because I actually think this card is pretty worthless in the deck, because the hand traps this deck loses to, which are Nibiru and Lancia. This one only stops Lancia. So this might actually just be terrible, but we'll see. By the way, as of right now, this deck's bad against Nibiru, but I haven't ever tried to test against Nibiru, so it might not be. But Lancia, there's no way this deck plays around Lancia, except just doing really, really weak combos. So take with that what you will. And then for the traps, we got Light of Judgment, aka Confiscation. And then we got Divine Punishment, aka Infernity Barrier. There are some situations where I've set both of these in my full combo, so that's fun. Then for the side deck, doesn't matter because we just don't know what we're getting. The only thing I'll say is if we ever get a relevant mirror match, it's going to be toxic, because the mirror match can just search this with Parshath, and that's very toxic. Synchros, we got, for the extra deck, we got the Synchros, Heralds, Book of Moon guy. I have very rarely summoned him. You could probably replace him for something else, but he's got a very good effect, and he's also an agent for when that comes up. Oh, and a level 5 tuner too, which is also pretty relevant. Then we got Chaos Ruler, very good. Savage, super good. Master Flare, you need it. And then we got Hope Harbinger. This is the best rank 8 in every situation, not even because of what it negates, but because the fact that it can just take attacks away from your other negates on board, and then it also being a negate is super. That's very powerful. Its attack blocking is more relevant a lot of times than its negation. Then we got Almirage just to link away Earth, and then we got Link Spider to link away the Shine Balls for the Parshath play, but this also links away a Nibiru token or Asmodeus token, so that's important, which is why it's better than Duke in this specific deck list. Condemned Dark Lord for the combo, Moon for the combo, Parshath for the combo, and then the inboard pieces, we got Apollosa, Nightmare Griffin, very, very good cards. And then for the going second options, Nightmare Phoenix and Access Code, which is pretty cool because Access Code is very, very easy to make. And when you make it, you're usually going the Parshath line where it's like Condemned Dark Lord into Parshath, into Link Spider, summon Asmo from hand. And then you'll link the Link Spider and Parshath after you use Parshath to summon Access Code. That's 3 pops because you have 3 different attributes in your graveyard. And then you have 2 level 8 monsters on board. That's well more than game. So that's pretty cool. So you'll just keep throwing cards until you decide to just summon a Venus and win. And then that's it for the deck profile. I'll go into 2 test hands because someone said earlier that when I do deck test, a lot of people want deck profile and test hands, but for control decks that's really bad. Like control, stun, or mid-range decks, it's not really needed because the cards do what they do at face value, so there's no reason to show you what they do when you can just read them. I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Players Ring, blah, 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 but actually just read. I can't hold your hand on interactions like Evil Twins. Like, they do what they say. There's no reason I need to explain that to you. But, and like this is pretty weird and complicated. So I'm totally fine doing test hands for this. So this is the first test hand. I actually make a few shortcuts here because I'm kind of getting very well aware of the combo. So what you do here is you send Trice, Tribute for Trice, summon it, and then Diviner will summon Bootin. And this is where it gets kind of weird because this should be Master Flare, which I'll summon very soon. And then we'll search Asmo with Condemned Dark Lord. Because we drew Majesty Hyperion, we'll just discard it, and that's like one less thing we need to do in the combo. So here comes Master Flare. This should have been summoned earlier, and also a Venus is going to be engraved. I just forgot to send it. So there's the Parshath. We'll link into Link Spider, or, well, that's before I replace it with Link Spider. We'll banish, summon Asmo. Venus should be engraved, like I said, and then since we already have Neptune and we already have Bootin engraved, this Asmo is just gonna search whatever it wants with Eva. So like Earth and Orange Light. So now we have Orange Light protection. And then next we'll discard the Neptune to special summon the Venus. Parshath's gonna activate. We'll search Master Hyperion, banish, summon. You know the drill. Master Hyperion will pop the Asmo, and we'll get our tokens. You've seen this combo well enough. I'll just fast forward because I don't need to explain anything anymore. So, just very simple combo. What's really interesting here is I think... Actually, I don't remember what I do. Let's just go ahead. Fast forward. Oh, yeah, I do, for Material Apollosa, yeah, I just do this. So I had... Called by the Grave, Orange Light, 38 Savage for Material Apollosa, which is pretty nice. So next game, this hand is actually insanely nuts because we drew the starter, but we also drew Majesty and Master Hyperion. So there's like a lot of things we just don't need to do in this combo. This is a combo where I end up getting both traps on top of a board. So Like in this situation, you would just send Majesty with Condemned Dark Lord, and we'll go ahead, do our play. You know the drill. Search Bhutan, search Neptune, and then Parshat's going to search the trap, like I said, and it's going to discard Bhutan to do it. So let's go ahead. We'll banish Eva. In this situation, it might have been better to banish something else, but oh no, you couldn't in that situation because there was no other light fairies. So we'll do our Asmo play. We mill an orange light, which we grab, and then we send. So what a lot of people forget is Moon just sends any card with Sanctuary in its name. So we're going to send the other trap, and then we're going to summon Griffin, discard Trias, which has a graveyard effect, set the counter trap, and we'll draw one card. And now we make 2 Material Apollosa because we're going to summon Christia this turn, so Griffin just won't have an effect. 2 Material Apollosa. We'll special summon Chaos Ruler, and we will use summon Majesty. And Majesty will use its own effect on our own graveyard, so we can summon our own Christia. And Christia, when we do this, is going to add back a light fairy. So now we have Light of Judgment. We can discard Neptune and keep the orange lights in hand. So we have another monster negation. We have Infernity Barrier, Confiscation, Solemn Strike, Spell Negation, Vanity's Emptiness, 2 monster negations. These are just some of the test hands I end up doing with the deck. And even in playtesting, a lot of the times I can always just push the combo through because of all the extenders in the deck. And if, like, I'm going second, I just summon a bunch of monsters and attack for game. This, like, you might be saying, well, what if you have an opponent? I have been playtesting against an opponent. It's, a lot of the times this deck just steamrolls or my opponent flips a floodgate. The only issue is in playtesting, not because of the duels themselves, like, I'm clearly winning, but I have to speed play because I've been playtesting on Etopro because these cards aren't on Dueling Book yet. And man, the timer is not forgiving for any deck that takes more than 5 summons a turn. That timer is abysmal. So a lot of times I actually just end up losing to the timer and not actually like what I'm doing wrong. It's nice sight, but yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more testing that needs to be done with this deck. But like I said at the start of the video, this deck I am testing to see what its maximum power is, not to see what we'll be doing, but to see if this is worth playing. And if you guys think Confiscation, Solemn Strike, Infernity Barrier, Spell Negation, 2 Monster Negations, Vanity's Emptiness is powerful enough, then let me know. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinderflax will take your soul.